I forgot to record it last time. So, okay. So first, thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. And I'm just really thankful to get to talk about this. I'm a huge nerd, and so time management organization is my favorite thing ever. And I will tell you that it is the number one reason I feel like I have been able to be successful as a coach, because nobody has a ton of time. And so just to kind of like cliff notes my story, I started with Beachbody. I've been a coach about 3 years. But before becoming a coach, I was, trying to lose weight. I had been obese most of my life. I'm only like 5'1", and so I was about 50 pounds heavier than I am now. And I was really lost. I didn't know what I was doing. I was living my life for everybody else, and I had wound up finding ways to cope with my self-esteem issues, and I had kind of just drank and ate my way into obesity. I was really depressed. I struggled with suicide. It was not a pretty place to be in, but if you asked anyone who knew me, they would say they had no idea. And it actually is like a point of contention now for some of my friends, because I think some of my close friends have said, I don't know, I feel like you just say these things for your social media. And it is what it is. They can believe that if they want. But I didn't want to share how I really felt. And so I really wanted to lose weight and do something. And so I actually, I'd started with Weight Watchers. That was the beginning of my journey. Me and my husband did it together. We weren't married then, but we started with Weight Watchers, and I liked Weight Watchers because I could eat pizza and drink beer, and it was okay. And I could maybe not eat all day if I could have 6 cupcakes because it fit into my my points. And so I wound up losing 10 pounds maybe, and he wound up losing 30. And I was mad because I was like, why are you losing all this weight? And he was doing P90X. And I was going to the gym, walking around, staring at treadmills and pretending to do something. And so I started to look into Beachbody, and I did Turbo Jam, my first program, and confession, brought it on Amazon because I didn't want to spend money on myself. I had done diet pills and reps and anything, you name it. I was like, I'm probably going to fail again. So what's the point of spending all this money? And so long story short, I bought on Amazon Turbo Jam and Chalene Extreme were my first 2 programs, both on Amazon. But I had actually signed up for a free Team Beachbody membership because I wanted help so badly. So I was a customer lead that nobody ever contacted. So if you have leads, please talk to them because they sign up for a reason. They want you to help them. So I can't imagine how different my story would be. So I found my coach, who was Hillary Kelly, on YouTube. I was searching Chalene Extreme results and her story popped up. So I stalked her for 4 months while I did Chalene Extreme. I never spoke to her, but I liked that she was consistent. And I watched her and I was down about 30 pounds at this point total between the 2 programs. And I finally reached out to her. She invited me to her Turbo Fire Challenge group. And I said no. I didn't want to spend money on Shakeology. And then I finally said yes. And then about a month in, I went to get my second shipment, and I realized at the grocery store I didn't have enough money to pay my bills and Shakeology. So I said, sorry if you have to kick me out of your group. I totally understand. I didn't know how challenge groups worked, and she was like, well, have you ever thought about coaching? And the truth was I had, but I just didn't think anyone would want to hear what I had to say. Who would listen to me? I was overweight and unhappy, and I didn't know what the heck I was talking about. But she said my favorite words, which is discount. And I was like, all right. So I signed up as a discount coach for about 6 months. And then I went to my first coach summit as an Emerald coach with my husband and my best friends as my 2 only coaches. And after that, I said to my husband, we came home, I was a school teacher. I said, I'm ready to do something. I want to make this real. And so I was working 60, 70 hours a week at school. And the only way I could fit things in were some of the strategies I'm going to show you in a second, because I had to work in 10-minute chunks and I had to just get it done. So after a year of really hard work and some more of my story that I'm not going to get into completely, I was able last June to leave teaching. And now I've been a full-time coach for a year. Yep, July 1st was a year, and I'm happy to say that June and July, my Beachbody pays matched my teaching take-home income. So hard work pays off, consistency pays off. But here's the thing. If I didn't take the time to figure out how I was going to
getting the
my
lower half here. I have underwear and still.
Well,
my thighs and
we'll figure that out. I'm going to, oh, I found it. If you scroll through participants, Crystal, you can mute whoever it is. You can see I'm muting. So I'm going to screen share on my screen. Hopefully it works. My computer's super slow. And I'm going to share with you my biggest tips for organizing your life and being able to free your time so that you're a Beachbody coach who's not attached to your phone and you can actually live. I heard someone say once, there is no work-life balance, there's only life. And I really believe that. You have to live your life completely. So hopefully this works, because I haven't ever actually screen shared from someone else's. Cool. Okay. So we have this in recording, and I will upload this or give it to Crystal. I think she has it, so she can upload it too. But I also will say I talk really fast, so if you have any questions, I'll definitely take them at the end. So the first thing I want to talk about is the time management mindset. Here was something that I feel like I said often was, I don't have time to actually coach. In those 6 months when I was a discount coach, I kind of was like, well, I don't have time to do it, so I'm not going to do it. And you hear people say, like, we have the same 24 hours in a day. And it's true, but we all have different lives. And the thing is, if you don't tell your time what to do, your time is just going to pass. I literally was just sitting before this, when I thought this was at 9 o'clock, I was sitting there scrolling on Facebook, not focused or not doing anything, because I needed to take a little break. But I can't imagine if I said, oh, let me do a little work during this time instead. So, think about how you spend your time, and I'll even give you an assignment if you're willing to take it. For a couple of days, I want you to do like a time inventory and write down exactly how you spend your time. And you will find a lot of wasted moments where you could be listening to personal development or inviting or working. That Netflix just keeps on going, and it keeps asking us to watch this TV show. And you hear a lot of coaches be like, I don't watch TV anymore. I'm not going to say that. I watch TV. I love Big Brother, and it's on 3 times a week, and I'm going to watch it 3 times a week. But I'm not going to watch it live. I'm going to watch it after I finish my power hour as like a reward for myself. So maximize what you have and stop saying you don't have time. The thing is, like, it's the same with finances, right? You hear people say to you, I can't afford Shakeology. I can't afford a challenge pack. But then you see them like buying Starbucks or Michael Kors. People will buy what's important to them. You will spend your time on what's a priority to you. So if you're serious and you're saying your business is a priority to you, then let it be a priority to you. Now, the other thing I want to like throw in like a little caveat is your goals are your goals. So if like you have a goal, like my goal this year is to be an elite coach. So my time is spent differently than someone whose goal is just to pay for their Shakeology. And I want you to realize that whatever your goals are, that is totally cool. And something I have to tell my team sometimes is like, don't tell me your goal is to be a diamond in the Busting Diamonds group. Maybe you're in that right now. But then spend your time so it doesn't align. You know what I mean? Like, don't throw a bunch of excuses out there. Maybe that's really not your goal. So if your goal is to do something big in the business or whatever it is, your time should align with that. So identify how much time you really want to spend, and you have to set your hours and set your boundaries. So the first thing I'm going to say about mindset is, it is so important that your stakeholders are on board. And who are your stakeholders? Anybody who you spend your time with, right? Your friends, your family, your kids, people you work with, if you have meetings and stuff. And I know that not everyone has a super supportive spouse. I am extremely fortunate that my husband is like the most supportive man in the world. And that we are like on this journey together and he understands. But, I have coaches who are not, in the same situation. And I think that a great way to invest them is to talk to them about your why. Like, I was listening to the Platinum Presenters podcast today. So if you guys have never downloaded it, Christine Dwyer has made her own podcast for us. It's good. And she was talking about ways to invest your spouse. So if that's an issue, I highly recommend listening to it. And she said she didn't talk to her husband like about the finances or how much she was making. So he didn't know, talk to them about what you're making. Talk to them about your goals. Talk to your kids about it. My stepson is 8, and he is amazing because I'll say to him in the morning, he doesn't go to camp. He's home with me. And he says, what calls do you have today? And I'll tell him what calls we have. He knows what schedule I make. And he knows that when my calls are done, it's us time, and that is because he understands it. And he says, when are we going on this trip? And invest them. The other thing to do is invest your team. So setting work hours, 1, is important for your sanity, but 2, it's important for your coaches. You need to tell your coaches, that You are there to mentor them, but you're not there to do their business. And a very polite way to say this that I learned at the Franklin Covey training that I say to my challengers and my coaches is, if you have any questions or you need me, feel free to send me a text or a message. If I don't get back to you right away, I'm not mad at you or anything. I'll get to you as soon as I can. Those are just not my business hours. Feel free to check the FAQs. It's not rude, but it gives you boundaries. When you answer every single message that comes in from a challenger or a coach, you enable them that you will do their business for them. So you need to kind of let them go, and you need to delegate them. One thing that we started after Summit is leader of the week in my team, where one of the emeralds or above is running the group for the week. So I still run it, but they do the team call on Monday nights. There's different things that we have each week. They're in charge of like helping. They set a theme for the personal development for the week, and they help train the team. So it kind of is off my shoulders. And what I found was when you start to enable your leaders in a positive way, they step up. People are waiting to be asked. So if there are things you're doing that you can delegate out, go for it. And then the last one is just invest yourself. You need to set hours or chunks in your day, and you need to keep them. Like they say, like set your appointments for your workout. Same deal here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about, and hopefully this is you guys can see this, are some tricks and tips for time management. So this is like newer coaches, but really it's for any coach who needs help with this. So the 10-minute rule is honestly how I was able to transition from a full-time teacher working 70 hours a week and 20 hours with my Beachbody business to being able to do this full time and work 25 hours a week. I did things in 10-minute chunks. You sometimes will say like, oh, I only have 10 minutes to do something. So you scroll through your phone or look at stuff or, you know, you get distracted. But you can actually get a lot done in 10 minutes if you are focused. So one thing I'll tell my team is to set a timer for 10 minutes and just get something done for 10 minutes. Work from the top of your list to the bottom. If you don't have a list, you need to get one. So this slide, it has my actual power hour list from the app called Wonderlist. You can go on the computer or your phone. And what I like about it, and you can see on the left, I have a bunch of different categories. And the one is power hour. And I have all the things I do every single day. It repeats every single day. And all you do is click the box and it makes a little noise and you feel satisfied when it's done. And so this is, you know, like what I do on a normal power hour day. And I can literally set a 10-minute timer and do as much of my clearing my inbox as possible. Or posting in my challenge groups. Like in 10 minutes, I literally could send out my customer thank yous from the next day where I enroll them into automatic CEO, or I'll send them a text and post in my challenge groups. That's 2 things I could knock off my list. So instead of saying, I don't have a full hour, I don't have the time, if you can find 10 minutes throughout your day, you can get a ton done. There's tons of other apps, by the way. This is just the one that I like because it's free and it works for me. The other thing, and this is more like leaning towards leadership, is as your team grows, I found that I was spending so much time on my team that I like in one part of my business, and I wasn't spending enough time on my business itself. And those were the months, like, yes, I have hit Success Club 5 for 20 months in a row, but those were the months where it was really hard to hit it because I was spending so much more time on them than I was growing. And my mentor at Beachbody Corporate, Paul, he taught me this, and it's helped so much. 70% of your time needs to be on recruiting your sales. This is the RSVP method. What that means is recruiting, inviting. The sales, that's running challenge group, doing posts on your social media, forming, meeting new contacts, all those things. That should be where the bulk of your time is. Then 30% of your time should be on V, your very new coaches, however you mentor them or onboard them, and P, your top performers. One way that I've been able to kind of maximize this, because I went through different ebbs and flows in my business where my team, we've got about 120 of us right now, and I have about like 40-something personally sponsored coaches. And so it became a lot. And at one point, I was trying to get one-on-one calls with everybody, one-on-one calls. It was just like, I can't do this. So now what I do is I have them in groups, and I do success partner calls every other week. And so every other week. I talk to them. They're either in partners or, and this is my whole dialogue. They're a partner or a group of like 3 or 4 of them. And I've set up a schedule. So on the off weeks when we don't talk, they still get on and send me their goals. So I know that they're holding each other accountable. And at the same time, I get to sit and mentor them because I found I was saying the same things over and over to most people. So it helped not only mentor my team and give them my time, but it kind of helped spread me a little less thin. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is organization. I do so much personal development on it, and it's probably one of those things that I probably shouldn't do as much as I do because I just love it, and I do so much of it, and I try to implement everything, but it takes time to get organized, but I believe it's worth it. And so I want to talk about this first one, downloading your Facebook list. So I know if you're in Busting Diamonds, Jody kind of said she doesn't think it's worth the time, and I trust Jody, and I'm doing like everything she's saying this week. This month, I mean, to grow my business as well. But I want to just say why I think it is worth doing it, because there are times when you sit down to invite and you're like, who do I invite? I don't have anyone to invite. I don't know who to ask. And then you're looking around and you're like looking for Post-it notes where you need to talk to someone or whatever. I downloaded my Facebook list. The first time I did it, I actually didn't know that you could download it. So I typed it all up, and that is a massive waste of time. So it just gives you everyone's name, but it really helps. And I'm going to show you what it looks like in a second. I have a screenshot of it, but it really helps because as soon as I invite them, I highlight their name. So when it comes to, for example, inviting to this open house and this webinar we're doing with Busting Diamonds, I can look and say, who have I never invited? And there's hundreds of names there, and it makes it so simple. And I use it for so many things. Then when I invite, like I said, it takes the guesswork out. And I also have a whiteboard. So I have one whiteboard where anyone who I've talked to about like buying their challenge pack or joining my next group, my whiteboard's split up. And if they're going to join my next challenge group, I write their name in red. And then when they make their purchase, I change it to green. I think I got this from Elise Hubbard. She does this. And it visually like just makes me see who I'm talking to, because I found that if I'm not organized, it doesn't happen. And I will be honest, I'm not perfect with it. And it happened to me this week. I've been traveling and moving for the past 25 days. It's been crazy. And I know that there are people I haven't followed up with that talk to me. And there was this one girl who I invited her to coaching. She said no. She talked to me about the 21-day fix. It's been going on for like a year, maybe. Like one of those people you always talk to. She asked me questions about the fix. I must have forgotten to write her down on my follow-up list, so I didn't follow up with her in a timely manner. Today, I went to message her to invite her to the webinar, and she had posted she had signed up as a Beachbody coach with someone else. And I was like, you know what? That's my own fault. So, if you don't take the time to remember to follow up, people kind of slip through the cracks. And so this is what mine looks like. Obviously, the names are like blacked out. So on the left, that's my contact list. It has their name, and then it has how I know them. You can see some of the names are highlighted because, like I said, when I invite them to anything, a clean eating group, coaching, whatever, I highlight their name. So you can see here, there's like 10 people I've never invited to anything. Guess who I'm going to invite to the webinar? These 10 people. So it makes it super easy. Once my list got downloaded, also, I put it in my Google Drive on a Google spreadsheet. So on the right, this is my invite list. So on the bottom, I make another tab, and I have the invite list. These are my 2015 invites. So it has, let's just say 24, whatever. But the date I invited them, the program I invited them to, any notes, and then there's a column that says follow up for July. So what I could do is, if I'm doing another 21-day fix group, I can filter by program, find anyone I've invited to the 21-day fix, and check in with them again. Then when my power hour list says, and this is honestly the one that saves me the most time, when I come to the time in my list where it says follow up, all I do is filter, and people are already assigned a date. So say I invited someone today for the 21-day fix group that starts next week or something. I would assign them a date for 3 days from now to follow up, or 2 days from now. And then I could filter it for it. And then at the, some people I follow up with once a month. So like, that's why their names are blacked out where it says follow up July, because I've already followed up with them. And then I assign them a date for August. So they're always in my pipeline. So all I have to do is look at what date I'm supposed to be talking to them. And I just have to send some quick messages. Otherwise, I'm looking through notebooks. I'm flipping through paper. Like, how do I follow up with them? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is saving things that you use a lot. So I use Evernote because on phones you can't copy and paste, and I found that because I was working from my phone a lot, or I said a lot of the same stuff, I wanted to be able to copy and paste. So on Evernote, I've saved a bunch of scripts of things that I say all the time, like, the invites to the open house or your challenge group invites. I also have saved links. So for example, this is a screenshot from www.coachingcodes.com. So if you've never been there, it's a great website. And it's made by Beachbody coaches. And basically you put your coach ID in and it gives you individual links for everything Beachbody. So you can send someone a link for just PIO or the Shakeology Sampler Pack or the 21 Day Fix Challenge Pack. And I save these in my Evernote so I can send links from anywhere. This is an example of, I hate using the word script, but it's like, a template that I use when I talk to people. So this is my exact word for word. Feel free to take a picture with your phone right now, hit whatever Shift Command 4 if you're on a Mac, like screenshot this and take it and run with it. Because I will tell you, I do not get a lot of price objections because of this kind of formula I've created. And so before this happens, I form them, I get to know their goals. I have a whole list of questions. I ask them like, how long do you want to work out for? What are your, I get to know their why, all those sort of things. And then when I feel like the time is right, I just say this: let me tell you a little bit about the group I run and you let me know if it helps you reach your goals. And then I explain to them what the 21 Day Fix group is, exactly this. I copy and paste it out of my Evernote. And then I just end with this closing question. Do you think this sounds like something that could help you get more fit, healthier, and hit your goals? And almost everyone says, yeah, of course it does. And then I kind of send this closing thing and I get them on the phone. So this is just another thing that you can use. If you say it a lot, save it. You will save so much time than typing things in. Okay, so moving forward, bonus, my favorite, is how to not get sucked into the Facebook scroll. So I have turned my newsfeed completely off. It looks like this. This is my newsfeed straight up right here. So I don't see anyone's stuff unless I'm on my phone and I'm like giving myself that downtime to scroll through, which, okay, things that suck about that. I don't see people's like babies or if someone passes away or something I need to know. But if you're really my friend, to be honest, like you should be texting me that sort of information. All that being said, I've completely turned off my news feed because I was just getting distracted. Now I still get notifications. I still get when I'm tagged. I still get any groups. And so what I've done is up in this left corner, I favorite the groups that I check the most. My team page, some of my challenge groups, and I just remember to check them every day. The other thing I do is I've created an interest list, and I'm going to show you in a second how to do that. So before I talk interest list, I just want to talk about notifications too. Depending on your personality, if you need a notification to remember to check a group, this is what I tell all my new coaches in our Coach Basics. If you need the notification to remind you, keep them on. But if the notifications overwhelm you, like I literally get 80 notifications every time I turn my phone on, turn them off. But only do it if you're disciplined enough to remember to check the groups. Okay, so the last thing I'll show you is how to make an interest list. So what an interest list is I put some of my prospects, like anyone I've invited to the open house or the coach webinar, I put them on an interest list. And so then I set a timer, 10 minutes a day, that's it, where I go through and I scroll through that feed so it shows me those people's posts and I like and I comment. That way I can still be engaged in what they're doing, but I don't have to get sucked into everyone's cute baby and dog. And how you make it is right at the bottom here underneath your groups, there's a thing that says interests. You click the more button, then it comes up and it looks like this. So you just click add interest. I have one called right hook. So if you've read jab, 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 right hook, anyone who likes or comments on any of my right hooks, I add them to this because I want to talk to them, And then you just create the list and you can add people's names to it. So if you're like, oh, but I want to keep a list of the people that I'm interested in because I want to engage on their pages, this is one way you can do it. But again, set a timer so you're not super distracted. Okay, I'm going to stop the screen share and hope that all worked because you guys were all muted, and answer any questions that there were so far. And I hope that worked. Did that work? You could hear me okay? Otherwise, I was just talking to myself. So yeah, let me check the chat. And if you have a question, you can feel free to unmute and I would love to answer. But let me answer the ones that are typed. So how do you export your Facebook list? YouTube it, just YouTube export Facebook list, and it will walk you through how to do that. I do have a list of all of my questions, I can send them to Crystal and you guys can feel free to have them. And then, how do you turn the newsfeed off? Good question. Google Chrome extension, kill your newsfeed. And you could put it on your Chrome. And here, this is another tip for that, is because when you do the ad manager and you want to go into the Power Editor, you have to use a different browser. So just do it on Chrome, and I will share the PowerPoint too. Oh, I'm highlighted? I don't know what that means. Does that mean like my face is all big and stuff? Oh, hi. Okay. Okay. Well, if anyone had a question, you can either type it in the box or unmute yourself. I don't know if they have access to do that, and I would love to answer any other ones.
Sorry, I was trying to figure that out. You're not big on your screen?
No. Well, I just changed it to speak. I changed it from speaker view.
I've had you big all this time. I meant to spotlight you, and I think I pinned you. I don't know what the difference is, but.
Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yeah. We could see everything,
okay.
But I don't know if it was big on there. Was it big on your guys' screen? I did that totally wrong. I apologize. It was big on my screen. I didn't know what I did. But
well, I'll give it to you. You have it, I think, from the other group, but I'll email you a couple things that they asked for, the question list and the PowerPoint, and you can send it out to them because it helps to see the PowerPoint.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. And yes, Cara, I got a message. She talks so fast. Cara talks fast, but it's recorded, and I will share the recording.
Jersey and me.
Go back and take any notes that you missed. And like she said, she'll send us files and everything that we need. You're really loud, Mama. So feel free to unmute yourself or type questions in the chat box. She's here for us to answer some questions. Oh, it was big on your screen. That's good. I don't know what I did. I knew you could spotlight, but anyway. Does anybody want to ask questions? I'm going to try to figure out how to make everybody back gallery view. Maybe that. I'm trying.
Yeah, gallery view.
Oh, there we go. There's everybody. Okay, hi. I couldn't see your faces. That was driving me crazy. So anybody want to unmute while we still have Cara before we let her go? Big on my screen.
Hi, Leah.
Can't see you, but hi.
Just a quick question. The list of questions that you said that you ask when you follow up with people, do you have like those in a document that you could share?
I do, yep. And they're just like really simple questions. And it's one of those things as you coach for a little bit longer, this curse of knowledge that you forget that you take things for granted. Because I was like saying to my coaches, like, yeah, you just ask them a bunch of questions. They're like, what do you mean? But yeah, simple ones like how much time do you have to work out a day? What type of workouts do you like? But I will share those, and those they go right from those questions to that script that I talked about for the 21-day fix there. So I'll email them to Crystal, and she can feel free to share them with you guys.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Anybody else want to jump in, ask questions?
Let me pull up the chat real quick.
The bottom.
Oh, the site to get to the links is coachingcodes.com. If you missed that one, I think it's Jason Diebel maybe made it.
Yeah.
It's great. Like I didn't know about coaching codes for a really long time, and I was like sending people to like go to shop and then do this, and like you lose so many people that way when you can be like, here's the direct link to get a Shakeology sampler, and I can like hyperlink that in an email or whatever. And favorite organizational time management book. Okay. If you've never read Eat That Frog, I would highly recommend Eat That Frog. It is very, very good. Yeah, I would start there. That's always the one I tell people to start with, because it helps you really think about your priorities and stuff. And I wish I could like recommend the Covey training that we went to, Crystal, because it was really great.
It was
awesome.
awesome.
So if you ever get to a Covey training, I recommend any of that stuff by Franklin Covey.
Anybody else? Questions? Sitting there.
Do it. Yep. Okay. So then the other assignment I'll give you then, because I was a teacher, so I'm going to give you a little homework assignment, is I want you to pick like one thing that I said tonight, whether it's setting up your Facebook or your coaching codes or saving some scripts on Evernote. And I want you to just in the next week do one of those, because I think sometimes we get paralyzed thinking I can't do everything. I don't have, it will take you time to get organized, to set up an invite list like the one I have. Like that took me a time, a couple hours. But now it saves me hours daily. So I want you to pick one thing you're going to do. And I would love if you guys could like feel free like to follow me or whatever, go to my wall. I just a heads up too, I don't do a lot of accepting of like other coaches for friend requests on my page because I'm trying to like keep them low, you know, so eventually I can max out. Feel free to follow though, and let me know what you're doing or message me if you have a question. Evernote and Wunderlist, yep, they're both computer and apps, so you could do both of those. But yeah, pick one and implement one in the next week, and then implement one in the next week after that. And then by the end of the month, you'll have almost everything I talked about done. But set the time. The other thing I wanted to say was a tip that I took away from, I think it was at the Covey training, or maybe it was like something Shalene Johnson did, is I schedule an hour a day. Now that I'm full-time, like I'll say this, I would not have had time to do this before, an hour a day, and I call it my project work time. And that's where I do like stuff for my team, things I want to work on, like an ebook, like that kind of stuff, because otherwise it doesn't get done. So if you can schedule an hour a week of project work in, like say you want to create something for your challengers or create something to email out or anything, if you don't schedule it, it'll never happen. You know, but I always tell my coaches, do your power hour first. Like if sometimes we get caught into like this person has a blog and the Instagram and the Periscope and whatever, if you can't get your power hour done, I'm just gonna be honest, don't worry about all that other crap hours on PicMonkey making the picture. Get your power hour done, then worry about all that other stuff. You know, you need to prioritize that. And I do use Instagram. So my business started Warm Market, 80% cold market now, and it is Facebook and Instagram. And I love Instagram. I learned a lot of Instagram stuff. I got to go down to that trip at Hillary's in Vero Beach in February, and some of my roommates were really great at Instagram, and they taught me a lot. I had about 900 followers on my Instagram, like whatever, no big deal. Of random people I didn't know. And I now have almost 4,000 people that are like targeted health and fitness people. I could do like a whole nother training on Instagram because that's where I invite like all these people to the open house. I've gotten like the last 6 coaches I've signed from Instagram. So I like them both. So we can maybe later date do something on Instagram. So I do use that. And there was another question. Prizes and what do the challengers have to do to get prizes? For like my challenge group. Oh yeah. Oh, so yeah, people like prizes. So what I do for my groups is that each week I have a different theme. So I know there's a lot of people who do different point systems and count like a bunch of points. I can't keep up with that. It honestly like, was one of those things I delegated out. So if I have other coaches like on my downline, or if I have other like people who I think would be good coaches, here's a great way that I train up coaches from challenge groups, is that I say to them, hey, listen, like I'm super busy this week getting this challenge group with our challenge group for life or whatever. I could really use your help. Would you be willing to be one of our team leaders for the week? And I see who asks who wants to be a team leader. And I normally get a couple people. Maybe this is always, so if I'm doing a 21-day fix group, sorry, I'm excited. So I'm talking fast and stuff. So if I'm doing a 21-day fix group, maybe week 2, I'll say I'm looking for some team leaders to help with the challenge. Post if you do it. So I get a couple people, and basically they're mini coaches for the week. And I'm like, all right, you get 1 point if you post your food, and then I'll do a challenge of the day. And I ask the team leaders to tally the points for me, and then they just report in. So I don't even do it. I have them do it. And then at the end of the week, I say to the team leaders, if they did good, like, wow, you're so inspiring. Have you ever thought about coaching? Well, no, not really until this week. Well, actually, you were just coaching. No, let's talk about a discount. And that's like kind of, it works very well. The other thing I started doing in this group I just did this week that I learned at Summit, I heard it, I don't remember where I heard it, but they say one of the ways you can get a point is by posting on your page and tagging me as your coach. And so I've been doing that this week. So if you scroll through my Facebook, there's a lot of other people tagging me about their workouts or their food. And what's happening is it's one, it's like edifying what we do without me saying a word about it. It's getting other people to see their stuff. And the best part is they're like starting to share their journey, and they're starting to coach without realizing it. So it makes asking them to coach really easy. So this week their goal was, you know, it's our first week of our group. So I just said anything you share on your personal page, if you tag me, you get a point for. So I'm keeping track of that. And then I'm sending them. So what I'm sending them is I bought a bunch of like $5 swag at the core. They had a bunch of like $5 21-day fix like sweatbands and those little lunch boxes and stuff. I'm pretty cheap. So I will send a lot of like, sometimes once I bought like notebooks at the dollar store and I sent them to my challengers and just said, I want you to write something every day that you love about yourself. And I was like, I'll start. And I wrote something I liked about them. Like, it's cheap, it's free. And I'm also really corny. So sometimes I'll send them cards just out of the blue and with like scratch off lottery tickets and just say like, I'm lucky to have you in my group. Yeah, whatever. So people just like to feel appreciated. So I hope that answered that. I use both Wunderlist and Evernote for two different things. So one is not better than the other. Wunderlist is a to-do list app, and Evernote is a place to store files and documents. But if I had to pick anything, I'd say Google Drive is my favorite thing. My favorite thing ever, because there's just a lot you can do and share.
Awesome. So maybe time for one more question. If anybody has a really good one they want to ask. Anybody? Going once? Going twice? All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Cara. Hey, cheese. And then, as always, every week we have optional prayer to end our call with to get us heading in the right direction on a new week. So feel free to disconnect, and we will see you next week. If you want to stay, we were just going to say a quick closing prayer and go from there. Cara, do you want to pray?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I would love to, actually. I could use it. Thanks, everybody, for listening to me. And I'm really sorry again. I talked so fast and I was late and frazzled and everything.
Oh, no worries.
But yeah, okay. I'll pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for having us all here to prioritize ourselves and our lives tonight on this call. Thank you to everyone who listened with open ears, open minds, and open hearts. And I hope that you guide us this week in the direction that you want our business and our lives to go. And please bring us anyone in your kingdom that you would like us to impact and to motivate for the good of God. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Same time, same place next week. See you later. And I'll post all that information. Thank you so much again, Cara.
Yeah, no problem. If I could get the recording too, I know my team wanted to
I'll
get
definitely
it.
send it to
Give
you.
me your actual email because I'll send those files through email.
Will do. All right, awesome. Thanks again. See you guys later.